Hey, students, this will be a review of what we learned for class number 2. For homework for class number 2 yesterday, I assigned exercise in your book number 217 here, which later I found out is in the next page of your handout on page 3-1. I list how to do this step by step with the new command we'll learn, mirror. That is, when you finish this arc or this fillet arc and this straight line here at the top of the assignment, you can simply mirror those two across the center line to make these two copies on the bottom of the machine part and trim away. So I still want you to finish 217. Either use the mirror command ahead of schedule or just make the fillet arc and the straight line twice using only what we learned class number 1 and class number 2. I also assigned exercise number 219 in your textbook. This is a 3D model, by the way. I haven't modeled all of them, but in the intermediate class, we'll learn how to make 3D objects once we know how to do the 2D work. And just cookie cutting it into a solid model is pretty easy once you finish the 2D work. But getting back here, let me restore from the top view. We were also to do exercise number 219 for homework for next week's class. By the way, Monday is Labor Day, so we won't be meeting Monday. My syllabus is wrong on the completion date and makes no mention of a Labor Day holiday. So correct your syllabus, mark in one extra Monday class, or no, Wednesday class is added to the end of this 9-class program. I'll point this out in next class. Anyway, I'd like you all to do all the green lines, make them a little darker here. Do the green lines of exercise 219. Don't worry about the center lines, these red lines show the points the machinist would strike the center punch to initiate the drills. And don't worry about the dimensions. Well, many of the exercises have hints of what commands are used somewhere outside of the exercise. So, these are little reminders. May not be everything you need. I can't promise I counted everything. Anyway, I told the class I'd make a video of completing 219. So let me go underway with that. I'm a big advocate of setting up skeletons or frames for all these mechanical parts. And the frame is quite convenient if it goes through the centers of circles. So an L from the center of this one down here to over here will give us centers for what'll start as a circle. It will trim away with week number 2's trim command. It's also the center of this arc, which will start as a circle. I guess it doesn't have to, but the way I demonstrated, we started this in class, so I'll do it the same way. We start with this being a circle and trim it away. The center of this circle of this arc and it's the same as this arc. So we'll start with a small circle and a large circle at the bottom. Same thing over here. So once we get this L shape, we'll have endpoints to draw the 6 circles. Then we can draw lines from the quadrant object snap of this big circle at the bottom straight up to the big circle at the top. And then eventually we'll trim away everything that doesn't look like our finished green line exercise. Little review. Turn off line weights. We'll learn that. We'll learn how to fatten lines in another week or two. I forget, check your class handouts. A little reminder, before every class, I want you to double check that every possible thing displayed on the status bar is checked. That way nothing can be turned off without you knowing, and nothing can be turned on without you knowing it. Once you got everything possible displayed, only have turned on polar tracking that we learned last week in Tuesday in class number 1. Have polar tracking on and have it set to, I suggest 45, 90 will work for this problem. But I'd suggest do as I do and set it at 45. We also learned early yesterday in Wednesday's class number 2 to turn on the object snap buttons. Object snaps are little homing devices so that when your cursor is close to an endpoint, it'll home in on the endpoint. If it's close to, say, an intersection, like right, well, that's also a quadrant. There's a good intersection. That can't really think of an object here that's an intersection that's not also an endpoint or quadrant. Anyway, I want you to set 5 of these tracking devices so that if your cursor's near an endpoint, it homes in on an endpoint. If it's near a quadrant of a circle, that is top, bottom, right, left points on a circle, it'll home in on that quadrant. It'll home in on an intersection. Excuse me. What else? Center and midpoints. So by turn on these 5 homing devices, click the little downward triangle next to the status bar button. You'll notice several status bar buttons have those settings, downward dark triangles. So click on the downward dark triangle. Oh, wrong button, my bad. Come over here to object snap button that we just turned on. Click the settings button and have these 5 checked. Now I've added another page to class number 2 showing where these getting a screen capture of this list with these 5 checked. Over the weekend or possibly tomorrow, I'll email you the new set of handouts. I think I added 12 pages, maybe 11, 13, something like that. Each class has an extra page added showing where the icons are that we covered for that class. And I updated a few of the handout pages you already have. So again, turn on, wrong button again, turn on object snap button and have on, as we left class number 1, the polar tracking turned on and set for 45. Again, double check everything is visible. Because if you don't have something checked, it might be turned on and you don't know it, and it might confuse you because yours, AutoCAD's not acting like mine. So let's start the pan here. We'll start by drawing this L shape. Your lines will turn out white on a black screen or black on a white screen. You can set the color of the background. I like mine white for making easy screen captures. Don't use a lot of toner cartridge or inkjet ink. We'll be on layer 0. That's black or white depending on your background. We'll launch the line command. We'll pick a random point, no XY absolute coordinate anywhere. So pick a random point. Come straight down 0.5 or half of a unit. Assume an AutoCAD unit is an inch for this exercise. 0.5, enter. Then use your polar tracking to get a, I got a glitch with my video card, I think. Anyway, get the polar tracking green dotted line to point directly in the 0 direction, straight to the right on your screen, and type 1.75 to continue the line 1.75 in the direction of your cursor, which is polar tracking in the 0 degree direction, straight right now. Move your cursor and you can see that's the L pattern framework we've made so far. Hit enter or space bar to terminate the line command. Now using the circle commands we also covered yesterday in class number 2, I'll add the 6 circles, 3 of which will be trimmed down into arcs using the trim command that's right here that we learned yesterday's class. Some of these are dimensioned by diameter. That's what the circle slash means. This arc here, if continued into a circle, would have a diameter of half a unit. The R means this arc has a radius. Half the diameter is 0.25. The 3x means that somewhere on this drawing there are 3 arcs whose radius is 0.5. Looking at this, you can easily see this. That's this one, and this one are the 3 arcs that have a radius of 0.5 units. There's 3 arcs that are 0.25. That would be this one, and this one. Notice these 2 are tangent to slightly bigger arcs, so that we can make those with the fillet command or make those with a circle and trim it out. Anyway, let's see. Let's make the diameter circles first. Okay, 1, 2, and then a third one here. Drop down the circle flyout toolbar and select the second icon for circle made by specifying the center and the diameter. Click on that icon. Command prompt says specify the center point. Click on any one of these endpoints. Notice that when you're close, the cursor's close to an endpoint, a green square pops up. If you're close to a midpoint, the green triangle pops up. As soon as the icon for the target pops up, you're free to left click to specify that point. Now AutoCAD says at the end of the command line, specify the diameter of a circle. That would be simply 0.5. I'm typing. I don't have to move my cursor down here to the command zone. It's typing automatically on the command zone. I'm going to type 0.5, and then regardless of where my cursor is, I'll hit enter. And there's my 0.5 diameter circle. And close properties. We'll get to that in a second. Okay, we'll do the same. Notice circle center diameter is now on the ribbon because it was last used. I'll home in on that endpoint and type 0.5 enter to draw that bottom circle. The circle at this endpoint's a little smaller. That's a diameter of 0.25. So we'll use the circle icon that makes circles by center point and diameter for good measure. Again, you can you can drop down the flyout toolbar for each and every one and come down and use it. But again, the last one you use moves up to the ribbon, so it saves you a little time after you do the first one. Click center diameter icon on the circle flyout toolbar. Snap at the end point. When you see the green square for indicating endpoint, click with your left mouse and specify, and then type 0.25. Regardless of where your cursor is, AutoCAD will obey what you type with your keyboard. Now let's specify the radius circles. This one at the top and this big one at the bottom have a radius of 0.5, and this 180-degree one on the lower right has a radius of 0.25. So very similar to the way we drew the first 3 circles. Again, we're going to trim away, erase half of all these 3 circles before we're done by using the trim command. Let's go up here to the circle flyout toolbar again and click center radius icon, the top one on the list. So click the center radius icon. Double check it says type a command. If it says anything else, hit escape twice. If you see grips on your drawing, hit escape twice. So with no grips on your screen and the command prompt saying type a command, click on the circle icon that uses the center radius option. Okay. Home in on the center point or the end point right there. That's two object snaps will latch onto that point, end point or the center point. Either one is good because I know they're identical points. I'll click on it, and then I'll type for the radius 0.5, enter. Repeat the same thing again. Click on the icon. Oh snap, at this point is not only the center of a circle, but it's also the bottom quadrant of the big circle here. See, every quarter of the circle, 12 o'clock, 3, 6, and 9 are quadrants. So that point down there is the center of this bottom circle. It's the end point of the line. It's the intersection of the 2 lines. And it's the quadrant of the big circle. So many of the 5 running O snaps will home in on there. It's kind of, I believe they're prioritized. Some of the object snaps are stronger than others. But I know that all those object snaps are identical. So I'll click there and we'll type 0.5 again. Same thing for the right side. Click on the icon that launches a circle command using the center radius options. Oh snap, at the end point or there. For a second I had the circle shown. There, it's homing in on the center of the circle. There, it'll homing in on the end point of the line. Those points are identical, so I'll click when I see either one, type 0.25 for the radius, regardless of where my mouse is. Okay, now let's draw some guidelines, not guidelines. We can draw the final line from quadrant right here to quadrant right there. And we'll draw a line from the quadrant there over and another one from the quadrant here up. They don't have to meet at the same point. Then we'll use the fillet command to put the arc at the corner right here. Line, O snap at the 9 o'clock quadrant there, O snap at the 9 o'clock quadrant there, hit enter or space bar to terminate the command again, hit the line icon again, or hit enter or space bar to invoke the last use command. And I want to draw a line from this quadrant to that intersection or that quadrant, same point, whether it's tracked by the quadrant object snap or the intersection object snap. Hit enter. I want to draw a line of some length to the right from the top quadrant there, and another line of some length from the 3 o'clock quadrant there going straight up. It can be long or it can be short. I'll put the arc right there with the fillet command. Okay, I was thinking of copying a circle, copying this circle so that this 3 o'clock quadrant is right there to begin this arc right here. We all don't know the copy command yet. Not a problem. We'll draw more guidelines. Up some distance, and then up some distance. Better yet, I'll measure, since the radius of this arc is 0.25, I'll go up exactly 0.25. Hit enter. What went wrong? Oop, accidentally hit comma instead of period. 0.25. Double check I'm on the tracking line straight up and hit enter. So that line I just drew is exactly 0.25 long. I'll continue it over till I reach the intersection of the polar tracking line and that vertical line on the left, and click and then hit enter. I got to shave off this whisker, but I'll do that when at the same time I make this 0.5 radius arc here with the fillet command. Again, fillet was one that we used, or one that I taught you at the very beginning of class number 2 yesterday. It throws an arc at where lines intersect or would intersect. It can be long lines or short lines. So wherever they would intersect, it'll place a little arc of the radius you specify. So type a command down here, no blue grips. Hit escape if you see anything besides type a command or blue grips, and click on the fillet icon. Check it out. On a brand new start from scratch drawing, the radius setting for the fillet command is 0. We want it to be 0.25. Remember the 3 arcs each have a radius of 0.25. This is one of those 3. Going back here, did I break the command? Nope, good. I can continue on. Command says select the first object to define where you want to place the fillet arc. I'll click anywhere on this line. It's probably wise to click near but not perfectly at the end point where the arc will go. Click with your left mouse. Command prompt says select second object to define where you want the fillet arc to go. Click near but not exactly at the end point, and nothing happens. I hate it. And I'm still recording. Let's check the properties. Is this a little too short for a 1/4 inch? So with nothing, no command active, I'll select that line, then right click. Must have bounced off it twice. Select the line, right click. I'm not clicking fast enough. The right button has got a sensitivity for how fast you click it. I'll abruptly click it right. There, a very, very quick right click. There's properties. When I have one object selected and right click on it, the properties will say right there's, whoop, no, where's the radius? Oh, no, I'm sorry, the length. The length is 0.25. Okay, a 0.25 radius fillet should work. Let me try it again. It says type a command. Whoop, there's blue grips. Let's hit escape. And the property says nothing is selected here. And click fillet. Okay, apparently my radius didn't stick. I must have forgotten to set the radius. That's what went wrong. I forgot to set the radius at 0.25. It's still at 0. So I missed the step a minute ago. Maybe I should start over again. Anyway, probably won't because I'm lazy, but we'll invoke the radius option of the fillet command. Click on the word radius. Command prompt says specify the new radius you want to use for the fillet command. I'll type 0.25 and hit enter. Now the fillet radius is set to 0.25. Again, I forgot to do that. I'm trying to work and talk at the same time. Command prompt says now select the first object. As I did before, click close but not at the end point. Now it says select the second object. Click it, click on the second line, close but not at the end point. And there's your 0.25 arc drawn with the fillet command. Again, the fillet command places an arc where lines intersect or would intersect if they were the proper length. Repeat the process over here, and this little whisker will disintegrate. because of the way the fillet command is set. We'll launch the fillet command again. You can hit enter spacebar or click on the icon again. I'll click on the icon again. Fillet radius is still set to 0.25, so I'll click near the end of the horizontal line, and then I'll hit near the top end of the vertical line, but not perfectly at the end. And there's our 0.25 radius. We need to fillet these two. That is one of the three that is a radius of 0.5 right here. So we'll need to change. Holding the mouse button down allows me to pan, remember. Rolling the mouse button in and out lets me zoom in and out. Then we go to the fillet command again, but now I don't want to use a radius of 0.25. I want to click on the radius option of the fillet command and redefine the radius setting as 0.5 and hit enter. Click on near but not perfectly at the ends. And that'll complete the upper right arc here. You can see the shape that of my green little bell crank, whatever this machine part is, or gasket, whatever it is. All I got to do is erase a bunch of lines and trim a bunch of circles. Well, we learned the erase command before. Let me save that for later. Let's use the trim command. Trim command will shave stuff off from where another line or arc touches them to the other side where the line or arc touches. So if I were to trim right here, the top of this circle would disintegrate. If I were to trim right here, it would disintegrate from the top of the big circle to this intersection. So let's launch the trim. We've got type a command, no blue grips, click the trim icon. By default, everything is a cutting edge now. So wherever I click, it'll disintegrate from crossing out line or arc to crossing line or arc or circle. Okay. We want to disintegrate that. We want to disintegrate that little whisker. This could be done with fewer steps. Let's take it a step at a time. We want to disintegrate that. Oops, what happened to that line? Did I forget to put it there? Always something. This arc I can later erase entirely. So there's no point, I don't gain anything by trimming it away. I'll eventually have to erase the last of the pieces of it. So I might as well erase the entire thing. I do want to delete or trim that and trim that. Whoops. Got to trim this little whisker. Students often forget these little whiskers. You can catch them by zooming in. That's all I can trim because I forgot to draw or I accidentally erased. I forget. I don't have this vertical line here. So I'll hit enter to terminate the trim command. Double checking. Yep. Need to go back to the line command and draw this vertical line. Now notice if I accidentally click there, it'll go to the intersection of the arc and of the two arcs. Or no, the two arcs. So be careful, zoom in or out as much as you need to find the target you're trying to O-snap with. I want to O-snap at this quadrant, so I'll left click, hit enter to finish the line command. Launch the trim command again. Again, everything is a cutting edge. You can reduce the number of cutting edges down to 1 or 2 or however many you want, but usually you want everything to be a cutting edge. So let's click there and at least there to whittle away that arc. Hit enter to finish the trim command. All that's left now is erase that line, that arc, and we'll be done. Don't bother with the red center lines or the dimensions. We'll cover those in a few more classes. So let's get the erase icon going. And select the line, the arc, the other arc, and the other line, and hit enter. And that completes all the green parts of exercise 219. In a few weeks, I'll show you how to create colors when we get to layers in the handout. So that's what there is to do in part or exercise number 219. I guess the tricky part is realizing that this arc is exactly 90 degrees. So with a vertical line there and a horizontal line at the right height, 0.25 up from this point across, you can place the fillet, or place the proper size arc with the fillet command, provided you've set the radius option of the fillet command to 0.25. That's all there is. Again, check your email no later than Sunday, and I'll give you another set of the classroom handouts with another 10-ish or 12 or so pages added or updated. Call me if you need. Don't forget the properties here. Again, you select an object, and up on the properties palette, it says, hey, you've selected one object. It's a line. It is 0.5 unit long. Its XYZ is starting right here, ending right there at XYZ. Angle is 270. Apparently I drew it from the top to the bottom, so it goes straight down the 270 degree direction. If a line is in dark text or bright white, depending on how your background is set in AutoCAD, you can change it. I'll undo this, but I can change, say, the point at where the line started by simply changing this coordinate to, say, I don't know, 2. Nope, I'm sorry, I need to black out here and type 2 and hit enter. Okay, that was a Y of 2. So Y of 2 is right there. Look at the command prompt when I set my cursor at that endpoint, and the Y coordinate shows it at 2. So you can change your drawing by changing what's bright white or bright black in the properties of objects. I'll click OK to undo what I've done. Again, if the properties palette is not up, simply select one item, quickly hit your right mouse button and pick properties, and the properties of that selected object will show. The properties panel will continue to be until you turn it off here. Let me turn it off here to show you another way. What happened? Whoops, wrong X. Save changes. I want to cancel out. There's the X. I want to close the properties to show you another way to bring it up. Another way to bring it up is to click on this little arrow in the lower right corner of the properties panel. I don't know why they made such a tiny little symbol to click on, but click on that and it'll bring up the palette. If you select multiple things, here I got 2 items selected. They're both arcs. If I add a line, it doesn't tell me 2 arcs and 1 line. It simply says, hey, you got 3 objects selected. Again, hit escape to D to delete the blue grips. Again, no class is coming Monday because of the Labor Day holiday. I hope to see you all in class again Wednesday next week. What will be the date of that? The 8th, next Wednesday. Clicking blank space. Email me if you have question at P_Burgener, BURGENER at yahoo.com, or call me at 775-7172. The contact info's in your syllabus. That's it. Stop the recording. Let me know if you still have problems. Goodbye.